Yo, what is up, friends and fam? This is Johan Tang again on another episode of my journey to my ideal lifestyle. So today I'm feeling kind of dry. Mouth is really dry. Throat is a bit strained. Why? I just finished filming the 7 videos of my video challenge by Peng Jun, which is gonna be targeted to the cold audiences of my married man niche. So yeah, I think I've been spending, now what time is it? Almost 11 a.m. where I'm at right now. So I've been spending at least maybe 1.5 hours to really just keep speaking to the camera, getting my script, my videos done well, done right, done impactfully as much as I could. Right. So today let's finally begin this podcast. So apologies if it seems as if I'm coming in from a different energy, but yeah. That's just what's been happening right now. So let's see, in terms of our usual goal of finding meaning in our lives and actually crafting the lifestyle that we want, or the lifestyle that will give us the most meaning, whatever that meaning is, right? Let's now talk a bit about having to break out of your environment. I think this is a very, very crucial topic and it's so important to me. So I first came across this concept of how the environment affects our individual performance maybe 2 to 3 years ago on YouTube, whereby at the time this guy who I thought was pretty good, now I'm not so sure, his name is Dan Locke. He was saying how environment really morphs our behavior, and if you look at high performing people, what happens is that they tend to really structure their environment in a way that will make them their state of mind most primed to be in a productive state. So I really took that idea very seriously, and what then happened was that was actually the root idea planted in my head that later got me to move out from my home at the age of like 21, using my own income to actually get my own space to really live and work and get my shit done, right? So if you're listening in from maybe a Western country, then yeah, that's a norm for you, I'm sure. But in Singapore, it's just really, really different. No one does that. We have guys and we have children living with their parents all the way until they're 30 plus or until they get married. You know, it's just a norm. So that's what I had to do. That was the idea that was planted in my head that resulted in me actually taking those drastic measures to actually get myself out of my original environment and into a new environment. And I can tell you that the basis of that idea is actually very, very true. How your environment is crafted today around you, how your environment is fixed in today around you, actually very much dictates your own performance, your own levels of productivity, your own levels of mental clarity, even bad habits that you have. A quick example on this is, if you're ever trying to lose weight, the easy way to go about doing this is to cut calories, right? And in order to cut calories, the best way is such that you are not being exposed to all this sweet stuff, all these sweet desserts, all these unhealthy, super unhealthy foods. Of course, if your whole kitchen cabinet is filled with Lay's chips and your refrigerator is filled to the brim with all these ice cream packets, it's only normal for you to let your willpower wane, and then eventually you just reach out and take the cheat meal, the snack, when you shouldn't. And also this also ties in with the concept, or rather the biological fact, that we have a limited resource of willpower. Every one of us has a limited resource of willpower that we can apply every single day, and we need to allow that willpower to rest in order to build it up again. So how you can take advantage of this human wiring is that you want to make sure that it's super easy for you to do the best course of action without having to totally deplete your resource of willpower every day. One way you can look, or rather another way, how do I phrase it? You can also see this being applied by the top CEOs in today's age. If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he always wears the same outfit. Steve Jobs used to always wear the same outfit. So these are all examples of people who don't want to deplete. They don't want to deplete their bank of willpower early on in the day by silly little inconsequential decisions like what to wear for the day. So they store their willpower for when they really need it most, right? So this also ties in line with environment, because let's say in terms of Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs, that's where his entire cabinet is simply filled with that one particular outfit, so he doesn't really have to choose at all. His environment is primed and optimized for him to lead an optimal life. So when I did that with myself, when I took myself out of my original environment at home, I realized that snap, now I wasn't having to flow, the ebb and flows of when, let's say, my parents argued, or when my mom needed help with something, or my dad needed help with something, or my brother had this commotion happening, or there was a fight or argument happening. So I was no longer swept along the currents of that environment, and I was able to actually isolate myself in a new environment whereby, I had less likelihood of being swept by the tide. But at the same time, when I moved to the new environment, there were new concerns being surfaced, because now in this case, I was left to my own laptop. My laptop itself has an environment, right? The Dota 2 in my laptop home screen was staring at me in the face. So that was a big problem, because then I had to exercise my willpower every single time I was facing my laptop, not to double click on it and not to actually play Dota 2. And that's what I wanted. And truth be told, that's what I ended up doing with a lot of my time. The first year I stayed by myself, right? A lot of my time was spent, maybe in a day, I think I would spend productively 1 hour to 1.5 hours every day working on business. The remaining time was just slacking away. I don't even know what I was doing. Probably reading too much material, overloading myself with all this content that I wasn't making use of in terms of business. So learning too much but not applying anything. And then using the remainder of the time getting my meals, going to the gym, or doing my part-time job to get income. So that was a big problem. So now when I was able to move back home, what happened was I realized that a few things must click. I had to resolve certain underlying emotional issues within my initial environment, and I also moved there because it made more economic sense for me. Now it's a COVID period, so it was just too expensive. My tuition job just got cut, and because of that I had to move back as well. But what really helped is to actually overcome the emotional issues you're facing in your initial environment. So maybe if now you're still at home, you're still living with your parents, look at your immediate surroundings, immediate environment surrounding you. What are some artifacts that are actually triggers for you to actually go down the path of a very unhealthy, destructive pattern? Let me share with you something else that's really quite personal. I used to be addicted to watching porn. But I realized that there's a big problem there, because it's really destructive. You feel depleted and lethargic after that. My drive just went down the drain after that. And I realized that it's really unhealthy. I was in control by something else other than myself and God, right? So that was when I said I need to really wean myself of this habit, this bad habit. So I realized that now I need to look at my environment. There was in fact an actual trigger, a habitual process for which I ended up eventually relenting. And the trigger started off with me simply scrolling Instagram, or before that actually me facing a loss in my life. Let's say I didn't manage to do task A, B and C. I would feel like shit a bit, I wanted a cake and I'll do it. Another trigger for me was when I felt like I was too tired but I couldn't sleep. Doing it just helped me to be knocked out immediately after. So then, based on my environment, how else can I then skew and optimize my environment to ensure these two things, whereby I don't reach a point in time whereby I'm too tired, overly depleted yet not able to sleep, and I don't reach a point in time where I feel frustrated that I've lost, right? That I wasn't able to do something and achieve something I wanted. So those were key questions that came up, those were key realizations that came up, and the way to really optimize the successes of those was to change my environment. So one way I really did this was that one simple way was that I just began setting alarms. I count the alarm on my phone as an environmental factor, because when, let's say, I'm doing work, when I'm busy talking to somebody, when I'm watching TV, a phone will definitely be an immediate part of my environment. So when an alarm rings, it is a new event caused in my environment that can change my behavior, right? So setting alarms for me was a very, very big thing. I just had to swipe away a fly in one hand and I hit. But anyway, quick wins, right? But anyway, so that was one big thing for me, changing my environment by rethinking what are aspects of my environment that I can actually tweak. So having my phone alarm was one key part of that environment I could tweak. And another thing that I could tweak was simply in terms of my habits. I realized that I used to jack off, when I was in the toilet alone. So then with my phone, So then I could change my environment, I could put my phone somewhere else such that I will not be in a position to actually easily take it on my way to the toilet to do my business. Right, so that's another example of optimizing your environment to get greater productivity, greater performance, greater results. So I think this is about it for me from today, because honestly speaking, I'm really drained. My voice is just really drained. But I hope you still took away a lot from it. Just know that your environment really deeply and heavily impacts your performance on a day-to-day basis. One other quick tip I can tell you is, now look at your immediate environment that you're responsible for and really focus on and really ask yourself, is this the level of orderliness, right? Is this a level of orderliness or mess that I really want in my life? Because another key message to keep in mind is that how you do one thing is how you do everything. I realized that when I really changed my environment, the environment that I could control, I really made it more orderly and more proper in place. Even my bed, my desk, my working space. When all of that, my desktop home screen, when I made all of that way more orderly and really compartmentalized, this really helped in my entire worldview, how I did things. It really has an impact, it makes a difference. So really just look at your current environment today, your room, your workspace, your desk, your desktop, home screen. How are they being structured? How are they being organized? If they're all in a mess, also your life in other areas will be a mess as well. If you begin today by just clearing them up, compartmentalizing them, categorizing them, really organizing them in the right structure that will give you the most cleanliness and order, I guarantee you will see benefits and results in other areas of your life starting to fall into place, and you get a more consistent, more predictable, more orderly, more organized life as a whole because of that one small step. So with that, this is Johan Tang. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.